Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. This is Undisputed on a Friday. This is the day I always wear black. And I wear the chain that Lil Wayne gave me, which, as you see today, right here, rests on top of the greatest logo ever. This is Wayne on top of MJ. This is GOAT on top of GOAT. Now, you should also know that my man Shannon Sharpe wears his chain from Lil Wayne just about every day. And I don't know why, but it has never, ever helped him win one debate from me. But you know what? Maybe today is the day. Maybe you're going to see the greatest upset in the history of the world. So I must welcome in my man Shannon Sharpe. Good morning and good luck.
Good morning, Skip. But the one thing that's different than you and I is that I receive words of encouragement every morning from the GOAT that's still playing.
Oh, that guy, the phony GOAT. We're going to get to him in just a little bit here on the show a couple of times. And today, Shannon Sharpe, this show is loaded from top to bottom because in just a few minutes, we're going to get to Jerry Jones making an offer to Dak Prescott to become the highest paid player in the National Football League. And Dak still hasn't signed that deal. What? And in a little bit, we're going to get to LeBron James making his first public quote since this forced layoff. And he said some outrageous things that I can't wait to talk about. And we're also going to get to a comment that Magic Johnson made yesterday about LeBron James being the greatest player in sports today. I got a big problem with that one. But we start off today, Mr. Sharpe, with Bruce Arians talking about no more Antonio Brown rumors going to Tampa Bay because he has flat out slammed the door on that. He was on CBS Sports Network yesterday, was Bruce Arians, and he said, it's not going to happen. There's no room and probably not enough money, but it's not going to happen. It's not a fit here. Then he went on to say, when asked about the fit in the locker room, yeah, I just know him, and it's not a fit in our locker room. So I remind everyone, Bruce Arians was the offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh for Antonio's first 2 years as a Steeler. And I'm going to remind everyone that Antonio did play one game this past football season with Tom Brady, and they just lit it up together. And all of a sudden, they were BFFs for life. They pledged allegiance to each other publicly via Twitter and IG, and both said, basically, wherever you go, I'm going to go. Even lately, Antonio has been campaigning publicly to join Tom Brady in Tampa. And now Bruce Arians has, boom, slammed that door. So I ask you first up, Mr. Sharpe, will Tom Brady have a problem with what Arians said yesterday about AB?
Absolutely not. Skip, this should go to show you. Let this sink in for just a second. As accomplished as Tom Brady is, as impeccable as his resume is, as unimpugned as his reputation is, he can't vouch for Antonio Brown because he's poisoned the water so much. Skip, my grandmother had a saying, Skip, and it says, she says, son, be careful of the toes you step on today. They might be on the foot, connected to the leg that leads to the butt you have to kiss tomorrow. Be careful how you treat people today, because you never know who you're going to need tomorrow. You see what happened, Skip Bayless? Now, me, I played 14 years, had a lot of different head coaches, a lot of different offensive coordinators. Well, 4 head coaches, 3 offensive coordinators. Skip, I guarantee you, if they had moved somewhere else, I can go get a job. I've been in this business, Skip, for probably 15, 16 years. My former boss runs MLB Network, Tony Batiti. But if he went to another network and was doing something that, you know what? Hey, Shannon would be great for this. Guarantee you I can reach out to him and I get a job. All my former producers, when I worked at CBS, guarantee you I can go get a job. You see, Skip, there's a reason Antonio Brown does not have a job. He thought he was being cool. I'm going to do things my way. I'm my own boss. Bruh, you never going to be your own boss. You're going to have to answer to someone if you play a professional sport. Now, you own your own team, that's a different ball game. But you and I both know, Skip, that's not going to happen. Now he can't get a job. Two types of teams will sign Antonio Brown. Team that is desperate and a team that's a D-fool. Anybody that has any aspirations of going to and winning a Super Bowl ain't putting that guy in his locker room. He's poison. He's poisoned the water. He's poisoned the soil. So anything he could skip is called fruit of the poisonous tree. Anything that's around it is poison. Bruce Arians made it abundantly clear. He made it crystal clear. No way, no how. Even as Tom Brady has been on IG, liking his post, hang in there, brother, stay ready. Tom Brady and his resume and his character can't vouch for Antonio Brown. Let that sink in, people.
Before I respond to what you just said, allow me to say, you have got to write a book about everything your grandmother and your grandfather said, because your grandmother sounds like a cross between Mother Teresa and Indira Gandhi. I've never heard such wisdom spouted from one woman's mouth. I have learned so much from your grandmother, and you were so blessed to have both your grandmother and your grandfather raising you. And they did a pretty good job because you're a pretty great guy. So I congratulate them.
Thank you.
And now I go to Tom Brady. Yeah, thank you very much for that. I believe he will have a problem with Bruce Arians just unilaterally slamming that door yesterday. I didn't quite see that coming because Tom has been very open publicly about how much he loves Antonio, both as a player and, believe it or not, as a football player, like as a presence in the locker room. Tom loved his time, as short as it was, with Antonio. And I really thought that one reason Tom went to Tampa was to have a little more input into personnel decisions, just a little bit. I'm not talking about total control. I'm not talking about Bill O'Brien in Houston, where you're the head coach and you're the general manager and you make the buck stops on your desk. I'm just talking about an open line of communication. And, Shannon, it's possible that behind closed doors, Tom's really saying, gee, he might be pretty tough for us to handle here. But I still thought that Antonio with Tom would have been a great fit in the Tampa offense, which obviously is already very good and very loaded. But I thought that Antonio would fit as the slot receiver. And I was singing the praises yesterday of the rookie from last year, little Scotty Miller, who was a 6th-round pick out of Bowling Green. He's only like 175 pounds, but he's got track speed. And I thought, well, maybe Tom will sort of fall in love with him as his new sort of Edelman, quasi-Amendola. But if you had Antonio Brown in the slot with those two Pro Bowlers outside, obviously Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and those two tight ends, which you could use together or separately, and you put Antonio in one slot, one side of the other, it's just uncoverable. But obviously it would require Tom Brady to be able to sort of ride herd over Antonio in the locker room, to be able to, so to speak, control him, to keep him under wraps, to keep him in bounds. And I believe Tom could have done that. Now, again, is there a money? Yeah, obviously Antonio is going to want some money. I don't know if he's going to play for the minimum. And obviously also, Shannon, I have no idea if or when Antonio will ever be reinstated, because as you and I know, we've talked about it 1,000 times on the show, that he's got so many issues against him right now in the commissioner's office that I don't even know if he'd be eligible to play next year. But if he is eligible at, let's say, mid-year, well, I just believe Tom would have made it fit in Tampa. So I'm a little surprised that Bruce was so adamant. I thought maybe he would just sort of gloss it over and say, we'll deal with that down the road. But he just said absolutely no. But you still think that Tom's going to have no problem with that, which surprises me because I believe he will quietly have a problem.
Skip, you've heard B.A. speak since he's been a head coach. He's very matter of fact. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't kick the can down the road. He picks the can up, he addresses it, and either he'll drink from the can or he throws it away. It's as simple as that. So he said, basically, Skip, let this, and he's looking at it like this. Antonio Brown had Ben Roethlisberger. Now, I'm not saying Ben is the greatest leader. Both of these guys could have done something different, but he wanted out of that. He goes to Oakland, gets a reprieve. He messes that up. And then he goes to Tom Brady in New England. And all he has to do, Skip, is like, he says, I didn't do what they say I've done. What they're accusing me of, I didn't do. But I'm gonna let it play out in the court system. I'm gonna play football, I'm gonna go to practice, I'm gonna work my tail off, and I'm gonna let the court system handle it. He couldn't do that. So now Bruce Arians like, hold on, we got an opportunity to win the championship. I'm not bringing that in this locker room. I can't afford to. There's Skip, the risk is far greater than the reward. And so Bruce Arians says, I want no part of that. But let this be a lesson to all of those that's out there watching. Skip, you have to be careful how you treat people because you never know who's going to be in a position one day to actually help you. Be it no matter what, it might give you a job. It might be you might be broke down side the road and someone offer you a ride that you were nice to 10, 15 years ago. So just be careful how you treat people.
Okay, I got you. And I do agree with you about B.A., Bruce Arians, in that he is the complete flip side of Bill Belichick. Bruce just blurts whatever's on his mind, whatever's in his heart, he just blurts it out. I've had him on shows back in my ESPN days, once at the ESPYs, and I love the guy because you just push the buttons and he just goes and goes and goes, and it's unfiltered and it's refreshing because you know he's really speaking heart and mind publicly on everything you ask him. It's rare to find a head coach who's put together like that. And I think Tom is looking forward to it because he keeps talking about how much fun he's going to have playing for BA. Well, it will be because it's going to be night and day from Belichick. But I still say, even though Bruce had AB as a very young player, and that was rookie and second season, and remember, in AB's second season, he made the Pro Bowl for the Steelers as Bruce was the offensive coordinator, but he made it as a special teams player, as a kick returner. So I think he only started 3 games for Bruce that year. But what have we learned on the plus side of the ledger about Antonio Brown? We have learned that he's not a good practice player. He's a great practice player. We have learned that when he does show up for the game and is ready to go, nobody plays any harder than Antonio does every snap. We don't have any Randy Moss going where he's going to take plays off. We did see him pout once upon a time when he threw the Gatorade on the field at Chicago when he was upset. And that was obviously during the Colin Kaepernick protest era, and he was at odds with Roethlisberger over how the team was going to handle that. And he thought maybe Ben was mad at him and shutting him out of the game plan. But remember what happened when Antonio got to Oakland. Remember on Hard Knocks, John Gruden was just raving about 84. That's a great number, 84. Somebody used to wear that a long time ago. I forget who it was, but some old Bronco. But anyway, Antonio was 84, wore it obviously in Pittsburgh, Oakland. And he's yelling, 84! You know, you're going to lead this league in energy. Yeah, he does. Right. That's what he's this little, he's like a little power plant of energy. He's always up. He's always excited. He's always on. And if you let him run amok, he will tear your team apart as he was starting to tear the Raiders apart. But once he got to New England, it sounded like, and I know it was a brief stay, but it sounded like he was on his best behavior because he was playing with the GOAT. And he knew the GOAT was going to get him the sugar. You know, he was going to feed him the sugar, the football, and get him his touches and catches. And in that first game, remember, he caught, was it 4 balls for, was it 80 yards and 1 touchdown or 20? Yeah. And it was great, but it was only 1 game, and it happened to be back in AB's hometown of Miami, so he was happy to be there. And they won the game, I think, 43-0. And it was game 2, and all was right in the world. And then you know what happened? The bomb dropped the next week, And there were more accusations of the sexual assault allegations. And then he got on the text chain threatening one of his accusers, and it blew all apart. Then he took a parting shot at Robert Kraft, and that burned that bridge completely to the ground. But the point was, in their brief time together, I think Tom saw what a great practice player Antonio is. What a fun guy to be around he can be. And again, I consider Tom Brady in longevity the greatest leader in the history of sports. Again, Ray Lewis is up there at the top of my list. Shannon Sharpe's on my list as a great leader up near the top. But Tom, over a 20-year span, ran the Patriots and set the tone of the culture in the locker room as the buffer between Belichick and a lot of disgruntled Patriots. And it was always Tom who could say, calm down, suck it up, swallow it, because that's just the way he is. He can have some dictator to him, but do what he says, and it's going to be okay because we're going to win a whole lot of football games. Well, I thought he could do the same with Antonio in Tampa. So I still think it would have worked, but Bruce saw enough of Antonio in 2 years in Pittsburgh, and he said, not on my watch. Go ahead.
Skip, let this sink in for a second. He took a shot at Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft is worth probably somewhere between $4.5 and $5.5 billion. Forget football. This man can make a call in a lot of businesses outside of football. It can help you get employed or help someone you know get employed. And you take a shot at him? Huh? The only thing that's, and I'll take no problem. If you look and everybody says, man, he's a tremendous practice player. He gives you everything he has. But guess what he can't overcome? His behavior when he's not getting the football. Skip, you said it would be so hard for Cam Newton, who's been this almost mythical figure, to all of a sudden go to be a backup. Can you imagine Antonio Brown with the 6 consecutive seasons of 100 catches, all Pro Bowl? All of a sudden, he's only getting 25, 30 plays a game. How is he going to handle that? Bruce Arians says, I already know how he's going to handle it because I saw this coming. I saw when we drafted a kid in the later rounds, all of a sudden start to become something. I saw his behavior change. No, sir. No way. I want no parts of that on my team, in my locker room. Skip, they got $20 million. It ain't gonna cost too much. They got $20 million in cap space still after giving Tom Brady $25 million guaranteed. So they got plenty of money. That was his nice way of saying, we don't want that in our locker room. Okay, but I remind you, Antonio has been humbled, and I'm not sure I can put humbled and Antonio in the same sentence, but I'm going to try it right now, because he got shut out of the NFL this year. And it was beyond just Goodell saying you can't play, that you're on the exempt list. It was that nobody was going to touch him with a 1,000-foot pole. And I think it humbled him to the point that he started begging. He started apologizing profusely. I've learned my lesson. I have seen the light. So I thought it would be the perfect time to get him at his low point when he's just searching for any re-entry point into the NFL. And what a fun re-entry point this could have been. I agree with you. Now that you have 2 Pro Bowl wideouts, it's going to be hard to spread the wealth. But nobody's spread it better in his career than Tom Brady. Nobody. Brady's great at getting, 12 receivers involved in a game plan and on a stat sheet. So I think Antonio could have been happy if they started winning games and he was getting 5 or 6 targets. Now, would that make Mike Evans slowly unhappy, or Chris Godwin, or maybe even O.J. Howard? Maybe it might. But Antonio, I think we agree with this. Antonio's still really good. Like, I'm talking top 5 good. Question. I'm talking, he's explosive coming out of his cuts. I'm not sure I've seen anything ever quite like him just bursting out of cuts. So would it have made them somewhat better? They're still going to be good, but yeah. Let this sink in for just a second, Skip. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you got a prime Randy Moss, you got a prime Gronk, and you got a prime Wes Welker. How do you feed all those guys the ball? Because that's what you got outside. You got prime Mike Evans, prime Chris Godwin. And you got to, and see, the thing is there in New England, you can keep it under wrap because the Patriot way. You make waves, you get up out of here. How do you keep this guy happy when he used to getting, Skip, you remember in the game that you talked about, he threw the water cooler. He had two, balls thrown his way. The next game, Ben Roethlisberger throws 19 passes his way.
He did.
You can't win like that.
Watch this.
You can't win.
Yeah, I know.
Right. You can't, Skip, you can't win when you constantly trying to appease someone if they don't get the ball. Well, I'm going to give it to you, but at what expense? Mike Godwin says, Chris Godwin says, hold on, wait a minute. I went to the Pro Bowl. I'm accomplished. Mike Evans like, hold on, I'm accomplished. And you throwing him because he threw a temper tantrum? Bruce Arians says, you know what, guys? To keep this confusion from coming into the locker room, I'm just going to, we're going to say no, we're going to move on. We're moving in a different direction.
Okay, but again, I'm going to remind you of this. They lost Perriman, who was their speed receiver to the Jets.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that he's a huge loss. I'm just saying he was the one guy who could really fly. Antonio can still fly. And as you know, Mike Evans is more of a deep ball, jump ball type receiver, and Chris Godwin's not exactly a burner. He's more in the Mike Thomas mold of just knowing how to run routes and get open. And so it would help to have the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of AB as that threat that you would have to pay attention to. I just think defensive coordinators would have been out of their minds trying to prep for AB in the slot, 2 Pro Bowlers outside, 2 stud tight ends, and Tom Brady at the controls. Man, I don't know. Maybe Bruce will see the light. Maybe this isn't over yet. It's still possible that Tom will be able to talk him off this stance.
Let me tell you how I do this. And this is what defensive coordinators did. Anytime you have a receiver that wants the ball, that needs the ball in order for him to feel successful, what do? I take him away early. When teams wanted to get T.O. throwing a fit on the sideline, what did? They doubled him, took him out of the game early. Yeah. When they wanted to do the same thing to Randy Moss, what do? So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to double AB. I'm going to let Chris Godwin. I'm going to let Mike Evans get theirs. And then I'm just going to sit back and come fourth quarter. I'm going to sit back and with my hands like this here, Skip, and watch him act the fool on the sideline because he hadn't gotten the ball yet. I don't have to do anything. I'll just let you destroy yourself from within. Well, Bruce B.A. said, I'm not going to let that happen on my watch.
Okay, but just remember this also. The Patriot way just took its talents to South, not Beach, but to Tampa Bay. Now Tom Brady is going to instill the Patriot way. Yeah, in Central Florida. The Patriot way is now going to be in the Tampa locker room. And I still say that Tom Brady could have shown AB the way of how you win football games and how you stay in bounds in the National Football League. And I'm still not going to write this off because this would have made them invincible. This would have made them maybe the favorite to win it all next year. Right now, they're tied for 6th best odds on Fox Best at 18-1, tied with the Eagles. The Cowboys are a little ahead at 16-1, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I'm still not giving up on this because I still say Tom Brady has enough new quote-unquote control, enough new respect in Tampa that maybe he could talk Bruce Arians off his position once they get together because they haven't even had any, obviously, face-to-face time yet. So I'm going to hold out hope that this will still happen. No mercy. Now it's time to talk about my favorite subject, my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Not been much great to talk about, much fun to talk about this offseason, but all of a sudden I'm seeing a ray of light because now we have rampant reports out of Dallas-Fort Worth and nationally that Jerry Jones has gone back to the bargaining table with Dak and his agent and finally made the offer, the best offer so far, the offer that makes Dak the highest paid player in the National Football League. So I ask you, Mr. Shannon Sharpe, is it time for Dak Prescott to relent and accept this deal?
Absolutely not, because you're always the highest paid. And I keep telling you, Skip, we can do all this hullabaloo about, well, he's going to get 5 years, $700 million, but only 20 of it fully guaranteed. Dak Prescott says, when you come to me with something that's fully guaranteed, I need to know, Skip, if the sun does not come up tomorrow, if the moon does not shine again for the next 4 years, if it rains, it sleets, it snows, I need to know I'm getting my money. Now, Todd Gurley was the highest paid player at one point in time. Skip, how'd that work out for him? With 3 years left on his deal, can you tell the people that's just trying to catch up on free agency, what did the Rams do? Oh, they cut him. Leonard Floyd was 2 hours and 33 minutes away from getting 13.2 fully guaranteed. But you know what happened? What they do is they're like, oh, he's the highest paid, but you're going to get $25 million in 2022, 3 days after the league year starts. Oh, no. You're going to get a $50 million injury protection. Oh, no. I need to know. Once I put Rain, Dakota Prescott, the first on that contract, Jerry Jones cut me a check for $70 million. And guess what happens? Next year at that exact same time, I'm going to get another check. So I need to know how much of the contract, being the highest paid, is going to be fully guaranteed. Stop with all this shenanigans, Skip, because they said Jared Goff was the highest paid player. But when you get through all that fine print and minutia, you look at Jared Goff, they got you. Carson Wentz, you look $108 million. You look at that. How do you sign after Russell Wilson? How do you sign after Aaron Rodgers and you get $10, $15, $20 million less in fully guaranteed money than they got? Dak said, not on my watch. I'm going to get comparable numbers or we got no deal. If it doesn't make sense to Dak, don't you do this deal.
So this is starting to irk me. It's starting to steam me. It's starting to derail me because I've heard enough about all of the above. Talking about shenanigans, there's shenanigans going on from Dak's side also. And I love Dak, and I have defended and supported him in ways nobody on this planet has. That was during the football season. But right here, right now, I think he's starting to look bad. And you're right. I don't know exactly how much of this offer is guaranteed. I don't know exactly how much is the average annual salary. I'm going to assume that the average annual is somewhere in that 33, 34 area. I know Russell Wilson is the top at 35, like 35-ish, and then Ben, 35, and Aaron Rodgers, they're up in there. Goff's right up in there. But I'm going to answer the question you first asked me about Todd Gurley or even Jared Goff. How did they feel when they were the highest paid? Well, they felt great because they did get a big chunk of their money guaranteed. And I think Todd Gurley's doing just fine, even though he just got cut, because he got a big chunk of it up front. So Dak's going to get a big chunk of this guaranteed. And my problem is I've been told that his agent is overreaching, that he's overplaying his hand. And I feel like this is the breaking point of this stalemate, because now it's clear to me that Jerry and Stephen Jones are leaking the fact that they have put an offer on the table that in total, the total package would make Dak right here, right now, the highest paid player in the National Football League. Well, remember, I believe I've said all along that they're shooting for what will be beyond Patrick Mahomes' money. And Mahomes could get his deal done in the next, sort of 6 months or so. So the point is, are you better than Patrick Mahomes? No, you're not. Are you even better than Deshaun Watson? We're going to talk about Deshaun here in a few minutes on the show. No, I don't think Dak is better than Deshaun. No, I've said that from the start. I love Deshaun. I've said it from the start. I said it when Deshaun was in college. I love Deshaun Watson. I didn't see Dak beat Alabama because I watched him play Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and it was a disaster. But I saw Deshaun play against St. Nick's defense twice and just shred it twice, and he should have beaten him the first time and did beat him the second time. Deshaun's a little better than Dak. And when they played 2 years ago, as you recall, Deshaun finally beat him in overtime. Neither one of them played great, but the point was, I'll take Deshaun that much, just that much, over Dak Prescott. But I still think Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. I love him. I think if you can build around him, Brady-esque, if you can build a team where he does have quality on defense and quality around him on offense, yeah, he could win Super Bowls, plural. But again, if all of a sudden you want beyond Mahomes money, you're going to wreck the salary cap. And I don't want to see it because he can't live up to it. And again, I can't defend him right now because Shannon, he was 8-8 last year. He's 1-2 in the postseason. I can't change that. So in the end, you're driving me crazy on this. I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to blurt this out because you've been such a hypocrite. It's so transparently hypocritical what you keep trying to do to me because obviously you hate the Dallas Cowboys. So you want one of two things to happen. You want Jerry to laughably overpay Dak Prescott and wreck the salary cap, or you want him not to pay Dak and for Dak to hold out of whatever OTAs and training camp we're going to have and maybe even miss real games and wreck the team next year. So you want something bad to happen to my team. So you keep saying, hold on, Dak, don't sign that deal. And it sounds to me like Jerry has compromised. It sounds to me like Jerry has stepped into the middle ground and tried to thaw this stalemate and tried to say, okay, I'm going to give you this much, but you got to come over here just a little bit to me. And I think it's time for Dak to come on over here a little bit and give a little bit for the sake of the team and its future. I'm getting sick and tired of listening to all this. Yes.
Yeah, well, first of all, Skip, when a side leaked information, what did they hope to curry by leaking this information? Curry public sentiment. Dak Prescott hasn't leaked any information. Dak Prescott's side has been mum because I'm not negotiating this contract in the public. It's always Jerry. I'm going to make him the highest paid. Let me ask you a question, Skip Bayless. Of Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, and Dak Prescott, which of those three guys do you think is the best quarterback of those three?
I'll take, obviously, Dak Prescott. He's 4-0 against Kirk Cousins when he was a Redskin.
Okay. This is what Ryan Tannehill, a week and a half ago, got $62 million fully guaranteed for 8 starts.
He did.
Kirk Cousins got $84 million fully guaranteed. Now, they just gave him another $61 million fully guaranteed. And you want Dak Prescott because they keep throwing out these numbers. Highest paid. But see, the thing that the public is not going to understand is that highest paid doesn't mean anything. I don't care enough. I don't want to be, let me be the 15th highest paid, but let me be the person that gets the most guaranteed money. I'll take that. Fully guaranteed.
Okay,
Skip,
but how do you know? How do you know that might be on the table right now? I'll bet he does have the most guaranteed money. I'll bet this deal on the table is way better than Ryan Tannehill's.
No, not fully. No, Skip. There's a difference between guaranteed and fully guaranteed. Guaranteed just means the contract is guaranteed. Well, if you're on the roster at the first day or the second day or the third day of the new year, you get $20 million. You get another $35 million against injury protection. Dak Prescott says, I don't want that. Kirk Cousins' contract was $84 million, fully guaranteed. Ryan Tannehill just got $62 million. He got 91 million. He got what, 91 million? No, Skip, that's what we want. And stop leaking information. Stop trying this. You started this 2 years ago. You're trying to curry public favor. That's why we're going to need Dak to work with us. I'm not working nothing because guess what? I needed you to work with me when I was starting quarterback. So, Skip, let me ask you this. If you don't believe Dak Prescott deserved to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, do you believe he deserved to be the lowest paid over the last 4 years? Because that's what he was. And Dak Prescott says, I want all the money that I lost, and I want all the money that I'm going to make in the future. So pay me my cheese, Jerry.
Yep. As usual, you have swept under your little carpet up there in your palatial estate, way up the hill from here, up in Bel Air, under your deep shag carpet or whatever it is. I have no idea what it is, wherever you are in your wine cellar. But you've swept it under the carpet that Dak Prescott has at least 12 national TV commercials. I don't know exactly the income from all 12 national TV commercials, but I'll bet it's a whole lot of money. So don't tell me, don't cry poor to me about his first 4 years in the league, because he was making lots of money only because he was the quarterback for America's team. If he had been the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, he would not have any of these endorsement deals. If he had been the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, I'm sorry, as much as I love Nashville because I went to school in Nashville, he would not have 12 national TV commercials. So right here, right now, I got a message from my man, Dak Prescott. You're starting to look bad here, Dak. You're starting to look greedy. Yep. You're starting to look like you're on the wrong side of this deal, and you're starting to threaten those 12 national TV commercials because, again, what I love about Dak is what I'm starting not to love. And what the point is that this is a tough, principled, high character young man with a strong backbone. And right now he's dug in because he believes, thanks to his agent, that he deserves way more money even than it sounds like even Patrick Mahomes right now. But
we don't even know what Pat Mahomes is offering.
Yeah, well, you have no idea. But the point is, on the national TV commercials, you're threatening your image and your reputation as this lovable, nice guy, good guy quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys who doesn't have a lot to say, but always does and says the right thing and makes lots of great plays on the football field. Well, the first problem is you didn't make enough great plays last year. And I've always defended you as a playmaker, but at the key points last year, I thought you crumbled, Dak, under the pressure to live up to betting on yourself without a deal from Jerry Jones, a deal that was offered back in training camp that you rejected, and maybe you should have rejected that one. But it didn't work out during the regular season because all you got to show for it is 8-8. So now you're threatening your image as the pitchman, the lovable pitchman for the Dallas Cowboys, and I think some people are starting to turn on Dak Prescott.
Let this sink in for just a second, Skip. I make more money in my second job than I do my first job. Now, the first job is offering me a contract. Now, I see what everybody else is making. I know what the going rate is for that position. I'm like real estate in Malibu. No matter what the conditions of the place that I'm trying to look at, I'm still in Malibu. No matter what you think about Dak Prescott, he's top 10, he's top 15, he's top 20. He's a starting quarterback in the National Football League. That's what he is. So, and for the last 4 years, I've made more money in endorsements than I did for starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. After I won 2 divisions, after I was Rookie of the Year, after I went to 2 Pro Bowls, now I played my contract all the way out. Everybody else got contracts with years left. You made me play mine out. Because here's the thing, Skip Bayless, and they keep going back and forth in 4 years, 5 years, because this is what Dak knows. Dak knows Jerry Jones won't negotiate in good faith. These other guys sign these deals. They say, you know what? We play good for 2 or 3 years. They're going to come back to us. Dak Prescott said, Jerry Jones, I already saw. You had me on a rookie contract making $700, $800, $1 million last year, and you wouldn't redo the deal. You actually think I'm going to trust you to redo a deal that I'm making $33 million? No way, no how. I want my money fully guaranteed. And when you get it fully guaranteed, call Todd Friends because I'm changing my number. I don't want you, Steven, or anybody else to be able to call me and say, Dak, let's get this deal done. Take it up with Todd because you keep leaking information because he's doing a great job on you. He's convincing you. And he's convincing some in the public and some of the fans that Dak Prescott is greedy. Dak Prescott says, I'm not greedy. I just want what's mine. This is what I ordered. This is what I played for. This is what I'm going to get.
Okay, I'm going to take back what's mine here on Undisputed. Every Monday during the last NFL season, I sat in my seat across the debate table at our studio on the Fox lot, and I argued with you about how great Dak Prescott was. And you repeatedly told me, the hypocrite that you are, you repeatedly told me Dak was no better than mediocre. Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Famer, said Dak Prescott was never better than average, than mediocre, and often gave him Fs for his performance last year, and has also given him a lot of Fs over the last 4 years for his performances, and would never give in to me that he was on the verge of becoming a top 10 quarterback. So I want our faithful viewers to remember that the same man who has ridiculed and ripped Dak Prescott as a performer for 4 years is now advocating that he hold out for even more money than the top dollar ever paid to any player in the history of the National Football League. I don't know how that man, Shannon Sharpe, can defend himself on that one, but you can try if you so desire.
Skip, because he plays a prime position, it's the quarterback position. Skip, real estate is all about location, location, location. Football is all about position, position, position. If you're trying to make $100 million, $200 million, Skip, you probably shouldn't be a kicker or a punter. Let's start with that. It's all about, you want to make that kind of money? You need to play the prime position. QB. That's what Dak plays. Forget what you think about him. Skip, I don't know. I do not believe Dak is a top 10 quarterback, but I do know he's a starting quarterback for 4 years, hasn't missed a start, and has won 2 division and Rookie of the Year and gone to 2 Pro Bowls. What is that worth? What is that worth? Y'all see the semantics, highest paid. But see, I see, as a guy that signed NFL contracts, I see through all that fine minutia. Skip, when I did my contract, Skip, after my second year, I put no more incentives in my contract because teams can control incentives. You know how I know? I had $100,000, Skip, if I got 1,000 yards in a season. 100,000. Guess what happened, Skip? I needed 125 yards, 126 yards, I think, to get that. I had 121 at the half and didn't catch another pass. So I said, you know what? Next contract, I'm not putting no incentives. I'm supposed to go to the Pro Bowl. I'm the best tight end in football. I'm supposed to be all pro. I'm the best tight end in football. I'm supposed to lead the team in catches. I'm supposed to have 1,000 yards. I don't want no incentives. Give me my money and let me go perform. Jerry Jones, pay that man. Pay him, Jerry. Pay that man his money.
I don't want to talk about the ancient history that was Shannon Sharpe's football career because it's so long ago, even I can't remember it. I just want to talk about what has happened here on Undisputed because it's become about hypocrisy on the part of the Hall of Famer. You know and I know it's time to get this deal done. You know and I know it's going to kill you when it does get done because it's going to tear out a little part of your soul if my team starts to get happy and onward and upward toward next year. And I still believe that is going to happen sometime pretty soon. I'll give you the last word on this.
Skip, all I want Dak is to be compensated for what you believe he's going to do. You say you don't give guys contracts based on what they've done. What do you believe Dak Prescott will do moving forward? And if you believe he's going to lead you to championships, he should be compensated adequately. Dak Prescott, don't succumb. Peer pressure is tough because you got guys like Skip Bayless. You got the fans when you go out in public. Dak, do it. You got Jerry and Steven in your ear. Dak, don't succumb to the peer pressure because there are a lot of guys in your hometown that was probably more talented than you, but they succumbed to that peer pressure. You stayed on the straight and narrow. Stay on the straight and narrow, Dak. Put those blinders on and run.
No mercy. My man Shannon Sharpe and I have been doing battle all show, and we're about to take it now to another level. It's about to really heat up here, because we're about to talk about his man, LeBron James, who spoke out yesterday for, I guess, the first time since this forced layoff. And he was on the Road Trippin' podcast, as we all know, featuring his ex-Cavalier teammates, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, and said several things that we're going to get to. But the first thing that grabbed my eyes when I read about it last night was a statement he made about, he said that the narrative that he doesn't like the most during this layoff is, and I'm quoting LeBron on this, oh, LeBron, he's 35. He's got so many minutes on his body. Now he gets so much rest. And this is still LeBron talking. It's actually the opposite for me because my body, when we stopped playing, was asking me like, what the hell are you doing? It's March 13th. You're getting ready for the playoffs. Why are you shutting it down right now? And then finally, LeBron added, I felt like I was rounding third base, getting ready for the postseason. So the rest factor, I think, is a little bit overblown. Huh? Really? I think I know where Shannon's going to go here, but I'm going to ask him up first. Do you agree with what LeBron said about not needing any rest?
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, as an athlete, you get into a routine. You wake up, you eat, you do what you normally do, and then all of a sudden you get taken out of that routine. And I think the thing for him, Skip, is that LeBron knows his body. He had paced himself. They had done a great job. Frank Vogel had done a great job with LeBron minutes, playing the fewest minutes. And I know he's still top 15, top 16 in minutes played, but it's the fewest minutes he's played in his career. So as we can see, the minutes were gradually going down. But Skip, he was in an unbelievable rhythm. And like he said, I'm rounding third, coming home, about to put that Pete Rose, you know, that head first dive in the home plate, take out Foss. In the All-Star game, who's Shannon, did he separate in the All-Star game? Ray Fosse, okay.
Ray
so
Fosse,
he's like, yeah, he said, that's what I was getting ready to do. And then all of a sudden, abruptly, it came to an end. Skip is tough. It's kind of like, you know, when we go on vacation for a week to get back into it. Now, imagine going on a vacation for 3 months and trying to get back into playing at a very, very high level, because that's what they're going to ask these guys to do. I do believe they're going to have a continuation of the season and start the playoffs. Now, what I also agree with, Skip, you be asking an awful lot, that the season's over with, where we are, we have 1 through 8, and you just start playing playoff basketball. I totally agree with LeBron James on this. That would be absolutely a disaster. You have to start all over. Finish these last 20 games. Let us go on and win our 60-plus games. But I agree with LeBron, Skip. It's tough getting out of a rhythm. You've been playing every game, every other night, twice a week, 3 times a week, and then all of a sudden you get out of that routine. So I agree with LeBron. It's probably difficult for him, but I watch him on IG. He's still getting that work in.
Yeah, who knows what he's doing? Just because he puts up a quick little 1-minute video on IG, you have no idea.
There you go, Skip.
Anyway,
there you go, Skip.
I'll get to LeBron's remarks about potential playoffs in just a moment. But I want to go back to what he says is this wrong, false narrative about how he really didn't need any rest. So here's my point. I believe that LeBron James is at it again. Maybe I'm being presumptuous about this, but I believe he's been watching us on Undisputed. I'm going to guess, or maybe educated guess, that he heard my take that this forced layoff that came out of nowhere and it's way out of everybody's control, I believe it was the best thing that's ever happened to LeBron as a basketball player this season. And the reason is that it's great for the Lakers and LeBron, and it's terrible for their biggest threat, the Clippers. But let's stay on LeBron here. I believe that yesterday on the Road Trippin' podcast, he was planting, as he so beautifully and shrewdly does, another excuse. If we do have playoffs, he wanted to plant the excuse with his billions of blind witness followers out there that, hey, everybody, this is hurting me. I'm not going to be right for the playoffs because I lost my rhythm. I was rounding third base, and now I got to go all the way back to home plate and start over again and try to get to first base. I am calling baloney on LeBron James. This was the best thing that's ever happened to him because he was on this hell-bent push to win MVP. And I gave it up to him, Shannon. I said, I gave it up to you. You're right. He is winning MVP. I still believe he has won MVP, depending on how much of the regular season is left. If it's little to no, I still think he's going to get a lot of runaway votes at the end of the year for comeback player of the year combined with MVP, which will equal MVP. And he needed a rest because, remember, he had played 209 more minutes than any other Laker. Think about that. That per game, he was the 15th highest player in the league. Now, again, career-wise, he's down. I think it's actually a career low minutes per game. But that's because he's been playing, but he's been playing outrageous minutes, like kamikaze, death-defying minutes. Remember, this is kind of hard to process without me like putting up a graphic about it, but think about this. LeBron has already played regular season and playoffs 58,378 minutes. Just think about this. Just do 58,000 minutes. That's the third most in the history of this league behind Kareem and Karl Malone. And I do think LeBron has a good chance of catching and passing both Karl and Kareem in all-time minutes played. Well, it's so many minutes. It's so much wear and tear on your body. And he was on such a push to win MVP in the big games against Milwaukee and then against the Clippers in Game 3, which they finally won, the first of their 3 games that they won against the Clippers, that he needed a rest. And he got a forced rest. And the last thing the Clippers needed was a rest. Because, Kawhi's got arthritic knees, and he load manages, but and I know that team just got thrown together. And all of a sudden, they just recently added 2 more new pieces in Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson, who are ball dominant, high volume shooters. They got to find some chemistry. They got to find some rhythm. They needed reps. And it's a great break for LeBron and the Lakers that the Clippers are getting no reps. It's a great break for the Lakers that the Clippers might get thrown into playoff mode with, 3 or 4 quick games to get ready. So that's a huge advantage for LeBron, but he didn't bring that up, of course. And I still say, because they kept listing him as sore groin. One game he load managed with the sore groin. But Shannon, and I know, he was on the precipice of getting hurt. So don't tell me, I lost my rhythm. No, tell me that you have the advantage, because I don't want to hear an excuse. He's already saying, if we blow it in the playoffs, I'll just point back to the time we had to get shut down on March the 13th and it ruined my rhythm. Stop it. I'm not going to let you get away with that, LeBron James.
So let this sink in. I want the people at home that's watching this, and I know there are a million of people. They don't have anything else to do. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they can't go out. They can't do anything. So they're watching us. Well, now, Skip Bayless said yesterday, if LeBron James were to win the title deserves an asterisk because of the abbreviated season. Now, if he loses the title, he has to build an excuse. So how does he ever win with Skip Bayless? You keep telling me I'm hypocritical. The hypocrisy in which comes out of my mouth when I'm talking about Dak Prescott. Elaborate. How does LeBron James ever win with you? Because if he wins the title, it's an asterisk. It's an abbreviated season. If he doesn't win, he has an excuse. I'm trying to figure. I'm confused.
Well, you shouldn't be confused because they're mutually exclusive. They're independent of each other. Obviously, if they have to have an abbreviated playoffs with maybe a first round of a 5-game series, maybe even a 3-game series, it's tainted. It's not the same. It's not 7-game to the championship. So I'm sorry, it won't be quite the same. It will deserve a big old asterisk above it because it was the COVID-19 championship.
Skip Bayless, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You were covering basketball.
I'm not.
When the first round, no, yes you were. You were covering basketball when the first round was the best 2 out of 3. The second round was the best 3 out of 5. And the conference finals was the best 4 out of 7. And the finals has always been 4 out of 7. You covered it. No championship was ever mentioned about being tainted when they played 2 out of 3 or they played 3 out of 5. But now all of a sudden, because of an abbreviated possible season, now LeBron James, you want to taint this man's resume. I'm not going to let you impugn this man's resume. Stop this foolishness, Skip Bayless.
It's already impugned. Now we're back to the other mutually exclusive issue. The issue on the table right now is does he deserve an excuse if they blow the championship, even in its abbreviated form? Because he was stopped short, stopped cold, and he lost his rhythm. No. And I'm not going to let you or your man, LeBron, get away with this, because you know where I would have given him a break? If on the Road Tripping podcast yesterday, he would have said, you know what? It was really good for me and my body that we got a forced break. And I'm grateful for that. In this time, this tough time for everybody, at least I got a little silver lining here. I was forced to let my body rest. I wanted to hear him say that yesterday.
So in other words, you wanted him to lie. To make Skip Bayless feel better, LeBron, lie to me. Make me, even if it's not true, I want you to lie and say, you know what, this break came at the right time because again, Skip, that's a lie. Why you want the man to lie? To make you feel good.
How do you know it's a lie? Maybe he would be telling the truth. Maybe he's saying behind closed doors, whew, I'm so relieved I got to stop for a while here and get ready for the playoff push. Right? He's Shannon. He's in year 17. It's absurd the wear and tear he's got on his body. This is the greatest break he ever got in his career.
But see, this is what I don't get with you, Skip. Who's a better athlete, Tom Brady or LeBron James? Now, you don't mention anything about Tom Brady going into year 21, him being year 21, being 43 at the start of the season. But all you kind of do, stop this, Skip Bayless. This man spends $2 million a year. He has trainers and physios and everybody on 24-hour call. At a moment's notice, they will come and do whatever. He needs stretching. He needs worked on. He needs a certain type of shake, a certain type of meal. They're on call. The man is in impeccable shape. And all you try to do is find a reason. Skip, there is nothing.
I don't. By the way, doesn't LeBron James make like $100 million a year all told? So he only spends $2 million on his fitness? Come on, you can do better than that, LeBron. I'm just calling him out because I believe in his heart of hearts he knows this was really good for him. I'm sorry. And Shannon, on the other point, LeBron talked about how he doesn't want to come back and play a few regular season games with no crowd. He says, that's hard for me because there's no excitement. There's no joy. There's no crying in the stands. LeBron, you might have to do it for us. You might have to do it for our sake because we have nothing to watch right now. And you, LeBron, are one of the great entertainers in the history of sports. We need you to entertain us at first opportunity. If you guys as basketball players can get back on a floor just by yourselves and find that safe enough with nobody in the stands, you've got to suck it up and do it for us because you're getting paid like $35 million a year to do just that. So LeBron, I don't want to hear you cry about how there'll be no crying in the stands. Go ahead.
And LeBron James will do that. He will play. If that's what's required of him, he will play. But what he wants is he wants to see the opposing crowd. He wants to see them cry. He wants their joy snatched away. He wants them to be excited for 1, 2 in the first, second, and third quarter. And then all of a sudden, he goes on that surge. The Lakers go on this surge. And all of a sudden, the joy and the adulation that they were filled with turns to heartbreak. Turns to sadness. That's what he wants. He wants that look on their face. Skip, there ain't nothing like it. There's nothing like the look on somebody's face.
I got it. But obviously and unfortunately, times have changed. Enough of that. No mercy. Before we get to our next topic, I want to appreciate the fact that our man Lil Wayne appreciates us because he just tweeted at us, at me, Drip Bayless, and our man Shannon Sharpe, Uncle Shay Shay, who's up in his palatial estate up in Bel Air this morning, as usual. And he tweeted about goats on goats because I opened the show by saying I'm wearing my chain that Lil Wayne gave me. And today it happens, as you see, to be resting upon the all-time greatest logo ever, the Jumpman logo, and I called it Goat on Goat, Wayne on Michael. Thank you for that, our brother. We love you just as much as you love us. On to the next one. And speaking of Lil Wayne, he loves the barbershop, and it is open right now because we got the ultimate today's barbershop question because, Shannon, as we look ahead to next year, we got some doozies coming up because we got Patrick Mahomes playing Lamar Jackson, and twice next year, thank you, God, us at Fox, because we got the NFC package. We got 2 games of Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. Who would have thunk it that those 2 games are going to be maybe the games? Those games feature, obviously, Brady versus Breeze. So, Shannon, if you have to just watch one game next year, you don't want to watch the young guns or the older guns?
I'm watching Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, the last 2 MVPs. Why the hell am I going to watch some grumpy old men, a 41-year-old and a 43-year-old?
Grumpy
I ain't
old
trying to do that. Yeah, 41
Seriously?
and a 43-year-old play quarterback. Yeah, I ain't trying to see that. I want to see my homeboy and Lamar Jackson, the last 2 regular season MVPs. I'm going to see, that's going to be a showdown because, hey, it's probably a prelude to, the MVPs again this year. Skip, look, how many times have we seen Tom Brady and Peyton Manning? 17, 15, 16, 17 times? That's all this is. These are pocket passes. What's going to be spectacular? Oh, they throw the ball. I'm going to watch Lamar Jackson put that spin move. I'm going to watch him juke somebody out. I'm ready to see Mahomes. I know my homeboy might throw a pass behind his back for 25 yards. I want to see excitement. Nobody want to see just drop back. Okay, yeah, it was a great throw. It was a completion. Stop. No. I want to see Lamar Jackson, Action Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes do what they do in a shootout. That's what I'm going to be watching.
Shannon Sharpe, you are in the Hall of Fame. You and I know those are busts, and they all sit up there. And some people believe they talk to each other at night. I'm not so sure about that. But next year, we are all going to have the privilege of watching 2 Hall of Fame busts come to life and play at high levels on the football field. I'm going to get to watch Mahomes and Lamar going forward. I need to knock on some wood here for years to come. I know what they can do. I know what Brady and Breeze can do, but I never thought I'd get to watch them playing at this high a level at age 43 and 41 on Super Bowl contending teams. I realize Mahomes' team and Lamar's team are at the top of the Fox Bet projections into next year's Super Bowl, the odds. But just right behind them, not too far behind them, are Saints, and not too much farther down are Buccaneers. If you can believe it, Tom Brady has already lifted the Buccaneers from 40-1 before he went there, all the way up to 18-1 and climbing. That's tied for 6th best odds with the Eagles. Cowboys are at 16-1, so they're even a little better. Who could have figured that? And the point is that these are still 2 really good teams. And all of a sudden, you have the privilege and the honor next year of watching Brady and Breeze go at it for a division title twice a year. And remember, Shannon, they are 1-2 in all-time passing yards. They're 1-2 in career touchdown passes. They're 1-2 in completions, career completions. So by the time they play each other, it could be 2-1, 1-2. They could be going at it for the all-time leads in all 3 categories as they did for a while last year. I can't wait for that. I'm going to sit back and get chills watching those 2 play because they're not grumpy old men. They're still at the end of their primes. They're still playing at a very high level. And for me, when I can say, remember, Tom Brady's been to 14 Pro Bowls. Drew Brees has been to 13 Pro Bowls. And I'm going to get to watch a Tom Brady who has the most Super Bowl rings ever, 6, and the most Super Bowl MVPs ever, 4. And I get to sit back and say, just drink it in. Just let it wash over me that I'm watching 2 all-time greats who might go down maybe in the end as the 2 greatest quarterbacks ever. And they're doing battle on Super Bowl contenders at age 43 and 41. We've never seen this before. There's never been anything like this. And again, Mahomes and Lamar, do you really believe that when they're 43 and 41, they're still going to be doing battle on Super Bowl contenders? Because the odds would scream absolutely not.
Whoa. This is not about what they're going to be doing at 43 and 41. This is not what this is about. Skip Bayless, first of all, what you're talking about is Pacquiao and Mayweather. Great all-time historic fighters, but they fought too late. Now you got Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, two in their prime, young guns, throwing haymakers. Somebody going to hit the floor. That's what this is. I hope both of these guys take their Geritol, Peyton, Tom Brady and Drew Brees, 41 and 43 out there. But anyway, Skip, look.
Really?
This football is a young man's game. And to see the excitement, because you never know, what, you gonna get a throw? Oh, I've never seen that throw before. What are you capable of seeing that you've never seen before? Patrick Mahomes might give you that. Lamar Jackson might give you that. Come on, Skip. You got to watch this one. Woo, for the ages.
Tom Brady.
For the ages. I can see
Brady next year.
Oh, my goodness.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just can't believe you want to watch a 43-year-old drop back. But
yeah, I do. Here's the point.
I'm going to watch him, Skip. I'm going to watch him.
Their Geritol. Hey, Shannon, if you're right about they need to take their Geritol, by the end of next season, I'm going to predict that Geritol will go to Tom Brady and say, please do an ad for us. Please be our spokesman for Geritol, because I believe by the end of the year, Tom Brady's going to be right in the thick of the MVP competition with Mahomes and with Lamar. And I just have a sneaking suspicion that the 43-year-old is going to win the MVP next year. And then you're going to have to sit there and drink your Geritol like you're going to have to eat your crow. You're going to have to pour Geritol on your crow before you eat it, because I'm seeing MVP next year for Tom Brady at age 43. I'm seeing 12-4. I'm seeing win the NFC. I'm seeing Super Bowl for the Succaneers, as they've been called for the last 20-odd years. So I just can't wait for next year after those two games against Breeze, because I believe they'll split those games, but one of them, Tom's going to win big. And by the end of the year, who knows? He might just set the all-time record for touchdown passes, given the weapons that he now has in Tampa, because all he has are 4 receivers better than any one receiver he had in New England last year. So you could just sort of suck on that, if you will, Mr. Geritol.
What my homeboy gonna be doing? Is Travis Kelce what, about to be 45? Travis Kelce is not even turning 30. Tyreek. Now, I don't know what's gonna happen with Sammy Watkins. I'm sure they're gonna try to work out something to get Sammy Watkins back. Mecole Hardman. Is Mecole Hardman slow? Skip, nope. He's only gonna get better. Nope. And think about this. Did you see him on the Sharpe? He said, man, I didn't even realize how to read defenses until halfway through my second year. What? You mean to tell me this man was doing what he was doing, throwing for 5,000, throwing for 50 touchdowns, and barely understood what he was seeing? He's only going to get better. Ooh, year 4, boy. Skip, you do realize before he got hurt.
You always tell me that the greatest thrower of the football is Aaron Rodgers. Then last year you started to change and say the greatest thrower of the football is Patrick Mahomes, right? And you keep missing the point. The point is, the most beautiful thrower of the football I have ever seen, and I've been covering this game a lot longer than you've been playing and covering it, the most beautiful thrower of the football ever is Tom Brady. It comes out of his hands so sweet. It is so catchable. It is so deadly accurate. I want to watch that at still a high level at age 43. So I'll be watching those 2 games, and you can go ahead. You can have your young guns. I'm fine with that. I'll watch those 2. But if you push me and said one game, and this is the last game you ever watch, I'm watching 2 Hall of Fame busts come to life going at it for the division title next year. So let's get back to a debate that. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I get you next time. But when I want to see 40-year-olds, go ahead. I'll get it in. Go ahead.
Okay.
No mercy.
Is it ever getting, as my man Nelly says, hot in here, or as Nelly actually says, her? But here we go, heating it up even more, because yesterday on ESPN, Magic Johnson said that not only has LeBron James won NBA MVP, he is now proven to be the greatest player in all of sports, even better than Patrick Mahomes, said Magic yesterday. Shannon Sharpe, what say you? Do you agree?
I mean, my two guys are 1 and 2, but I agree with Magic. Because, Skip, it's really, because here's the thing, is that LeBron can do more to influence the game than Patrick Mahomes. And that's why, I would always lean towards the basketball player, because they get an opportunity to play offense and defense. When you heard, Skip, it's Peyton versus Brady. No, it's not. Brady can't sack Peyton. Peyton can't sack Brady. Brady can't pick off one of Peyton's pass. But LeBron James, we saw what he did before this break, right, Skip? We saw what he did on that Friday night. He and Giannis. Hey, Giannis, take this with you, and I'm going to D you up. Hey, Kawhi, I got something for you. I bet you won't be running no commercials today. Yeah, you're going to take this L, and I'm going to get the and ones on you, and I'm going to D you up. No question about it, Skip. I love Patrick Mahomes. You know what I think of Patrick Mahomes. He's the best player in football. He's no question. He's the unquestioned best quarterback in football. But as far as entertainment and the value on both ends of the court, it's Go James. He's the most popular player in the world. And because if you think about it, Skip, football really does not have the reach outside of North America like basketball. Once Commissioner Stern said we're sending our best NBA players in 92 to the Olympics, Skip, there were a few players in the NBA from foreign countries. But once they open up those borders, it reaches beyond. So now we got China, and we got Lithuanians, and we got Serbs, and we got all Yugoslav. We got everybody. Football doesn't have that kind of reach. That's why they keep trying to play overseas in London, Skip, but we keep sending the Jags, and they keep rejecting it. We're going to have to send Tom Brady or Mahomes or some of our best players, Skip, better teams over there. But it's Go James, and you know this.
Again, the question here isn't, because Magic didn't say that LeBron is the most popular player in the world. That's not the issue here. We get that. More popular overseas. We get that. The question is about, is LeBron now playing at the highest level of anybody? Has he now reestablished himself as the greatest player in all of sports, even better than Mahomes?
Yeah.
And the first reason I love this question was it puts my man Shannon backs him into a corner, because he's got to pick between, LeBron or Mahomes? Mahomes or LeBron? The GOAT or my homeboy? Which way is it? And he's saying, just tiny bit, just slightly, I'm going to go LeBron, because he doesn't want to burn the bridge. He doesn't want to burn his DM bridge or his texting bridge to LeBron and to Maverick and to Rich and to Randy and blah, blah, blah. We know he's part of he's now what are you, the fourth or the fifth horseman? I don't know what you are, but you're in the inner circle of LeBron James. Okay, that's all fine and good. You know what? It's my turn now. And the reason this hit me the wrong way is that I got to defend my man, Tom Brady, because he still, to me, is the greatest performer in all of sports. And it's relative to what's been going on the last 2 or 3. Let's just do the last 2 years. LeBron had his down year a year ago. Tom, according to you and some others, had his down year just this past football season. But let's keep it in the perspective that if we just go back 2 years ago, I mean, Tom Brady took his team, but beat Jacksonville in the AFC Championship game. I'm just going back 2 football seasons ago, with Tom threw for 138 yards in the fourth quarter to bring his team back against Jacksonville to go to the Super Bowl, to throw for an all-time record 505 yards and put up 33 points, which were not enough because Bill Belichick's defense was a disaster and gave up 41 to Nick Foles. And then Tom followed that up just a football season ago by throwing a party on the Chargers that you loved, going up to Foxborough in the first playoff game. He threw for 343 yards in that game, 34 of 44. And then he goes to Kansas City, and for the second time, just 2 football seasons ago, outplayed Patrick Mahomes. And in that game, he converted 3 straight 3rd and 10s in overtime to beat Mahomes at Mahomes. And then he goes to the Super Bowl, and in the 4th quarter, he goes 4 for 4 in a game-winning drive, including a 29-yarder to Gronkowski down to the 2-yard line that set up the winning touchdown that put them ahead 10-3. It was 3-all middle 4th quarter, and he did it again. That's 6 rings with 6 game-winning drives, and that was just 1 Super Bowl ago. And then last year was his down year, Tom Brady's, and all he did was he had Antonio Brown for 1 game and lost him. He had Josh Gordon for 6 games and lost him, thanks to Belichick. And you know and I know he didn't have Gronk, and so their tight ends as a unit had the worst production in the whole NFL. And his only go-to receiver, Julian Edelman, had a shoulder that would require surgery. He had cracked ribs. He had a bum knee. Shell of himself, led the league in drops. And despite all that, Tom Brady lifted that team into what should have been the 2 seed this past football season with another game-winning drive against the Dolphins in the final regular season game that was beautiful and put them up 24-20, and they were going to have the 2 seed and a bye, and Belichick's defense spit the bit again and gave up an 80-yard drive and 13 plays to Ryan Fitzpatrick to lose the game 27-24 at the buzzer. Well, you can't blame that on Tom Brady. So I thought he had a really great year given nothing to work with around him. He had absolutely no help. So now let's look at what did LeBron do just a year ago in his 1 down season? He was a disaster. He played 55 games. They went 28-27 and missed the playoffs. And that team, that was a pretty good basketball team. They had Brandon Ingram. They had Lonzo. They had Kuzma. They had Josh Hart. They had JaVale and Rondo and KCP and Caruso. And they had even Lance Stevenson, and he went 28-27 with that team. And just because you brought this up, I think it's time, one more time, to see the all-time blooper reel of the greatest player in sports just a year ago. Yeah, we got to see it, because remember what he did at Phoenix? Remember what he did? He threw it off the backboard as he was trying to inbounds the ball. What are you doing, LeBron? And then remember, he rolls the ball up the court, and it kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And finally, he kicks it out of bounds. What are you doing, LeBron? And then remember, Kuzma had to push him out to play defense at Memphis. Go get that guy. You got to play some defense. Kuzma pushed him out into that. And then remember what happened at the Garden? Madison Square Garden, LeBron got blocked by Mario Hezonja on the last shot of the game. You're kidding me. You got blocked by Mario Hezonja to win the game? What? That's the guy that Magic is now proclaiming the greatest performance. Stop it. Brady just keeps doing Brady things, but everybody just takes that for granted.
Skip, here's the thing. It's like we ask a simple question. What's your favorite? Is it hamburgers or is it pizza? Hot dogs. That was not the question. You don't get to put a fill-in, Skip, when they say, this was the question. Mahomes or GOAT James? No, it was not. No, it was not. No, it was not. Here's the thing, Skip. You keep saying LeBron James, his offseason. LeBron James' offseason, he had a season that only 4 other men had ever had. Harden, Russ, Jordan, and the Big O. He's the only man to do it after the age of 30. 27, 7-7. Only 4 other men had ever done it. That's in an off season. You keep talking about, Brady, Brady. No. Go ahead.
Okay, remember, LeBron got his help this year. He got Anthony Davis, whom you picked to be this year's MVP. That's how much you thought of AD. So I give you that. Yeah. LeBron got his guy, and LeBron had a really good first whatever part of the season we just seen. And remember, Tom Brady's about to do, Tom Brady got his AD next year in Tampa Bay. He got AD, except he got about 4 ADs because he got 2 Pro Bowlers and 2 stud tight ends. So here we go. Watch Brady. He's going to be the best performer in sports next year. So look, in the end, Shannon, we know Magic. We love Magic. Magic did not part ways very well with LeBron. Remember what LeBron said on the Shop about how it ended with Magic? Remember the last regular season game of last year, not this year, but last year? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Magic just announces, I'm out. I'm gone. Really? And remember what LeBron said on the Shop? He was saying that Randy Mims had to come out while he was stretching and tell him, guess what just happened? And LeBron said, get the you-know-what out of here. And then the quote on the Shop was about Magic. Well, at least he could have said something. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he said, at least he could have said something to me like kiss my ass. Well, it indicated to me that they were kind of on the outs. And I'm sure Magic was a little disappointed in LeBron not living up to being LeBron a year ago on Magic's watch. So now Magic as an ambassador of the Lakers, he's trying to just make up to LeBron a little bit, maybe sort of kiss back up to him and say, hey, let's rebuild the bridge here. You're the MVP and you're the greatest player in sports now. So I take it with some grains of salt. Go ahead.
Normally, Skip, what happens is that people like Magic Johnson that are very powerful men, that are very wealthy men, when they make decisions, they don't feel they have to tell anybody the decision that they're going to make. And I think Magic Johnson made that abundantly clear. Magic says, I'm my own man. I didn't tell anybody. I told Cookie. That's what he told. He didn't tell Jeannie Buzz. He didn't tell Rob. He didn't tell anybody. He said, I told Cookie. And that's it. So this notion, Skip Bayless, is your guy. My guy is the greatest. And my second guy is the number 2. So that's what I got going for me. And you notice he didn't mention anything about any of your guys.
No, he did not, because he would not, because he was trying to keep it on LeBron. And I'm going to give you that. And I'm going to give you this much this time, that LeBron's having a great year and he is the MVP, but he is not the greatest performer in all of sports. That's still the guy who's now in Tampa Bay. No mercy. Obviously, we know that Bill O'Brien recently gave away DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals, and we're all assuming that did not make Deshaun Watson very happy. So for 3 straight days, in a series of tweets, he keeps posting rap lyrics. And I'll read the first one from Drake. I don't know how I might make it out of here clean. Can't even keep track of who plays for the other team. Iconic duos rip and split at the seams. And then, Shannon, as you know, 2 days ago, it was Lil Uzi Vert's lyric of don't deal with the lies and the frauds. And then yesterday, it was YFN Lucci's lyrics, which I will not read, but it just goes on. And it makes you wonder, is Deshaun Watson sending messages to Bill O'Brien that he wants out? What's your take?
Skip, there might be some messages, but I'm sure there's not a message that in there that $40 million a year and $100 million fully guaranteed with about 135 to 140 guaranteed couldn't solve. Skip, you're asking because if you think about Skip, look at what DeAndre Hopkins was able to do. He had Case Keenum. He had Brian Hoyer. He had some guys that weren't very good, and he still was a top 2, top 3 receiver. Might have been even number 1. Now he finally gets a quarterback. And you got to realize, Skip, Deshaun has always at Clemson. He knows what receivers can do for you. He's always had that. So now he comes there. In order for him to be successful, you take away the one weapon, his most consistent weapon. You take that away from him, and you expect him to go out there and do what? Skip, I like William Fuller IV, but he can't stay healthy. Kelly Cootie can't stay healthy. Those tight ends, they're okay, but they're nothing to write home about. And he says, you keep telling me you want me to make these cakes, but you tell me I can't have butter. You tell me I can't have sugar. What am I supposed to do? You want me to make chicken salad out of chicken, you know what? It ain't gonna work.
Yep.
Bill O'Brien, the general manager, has done Bill O'Brien, the head coach, a terrible disservice. And Bill O'Brien, the head coach, has let personal feelings influence him because he gave away, I don't care what he says, he gave away DeAndre Hopkins. There's no way you take a generational talented receiver and you swap him for a running back. David Johnson had that one good year, Skip. He hasn't been good before and he hasn't been good since. And you swap out salaries. Skip, you give the man what he wants. And this is the problem. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Skip. This is the problem that I have. Teams were quick to say, with 2 years, 3 years left on the contract. You signed the contract. You signed it. But they will cut same said player 2 to 3 years left on the contract and won't mention anything about they signed the contract.
Okay, I agree with everything you just said. And as you know, I'm a big Deshaun fan. I'm no fan of Bill O'Brien's. I think he's basically a disaster as a GM and that he's not a great coach to boot. I don't think he's a great in-game strategist, as we saw in the epic collapse at Kansas City in the playoff game. And I don't think he's a great play caller. He says he's going to give play calling up this coming year. But the point is, I feel sorry for Deshaun Watson because he did get sideways, did Bill O'Brien, with DeAndre, who's obviously Deshaun's soulmate. They're both Clemson guys. And when push came to shove, Deshaun looked for DeAndre. He looked for D-Hop. And now he can't look for him because Kyler's going to be looking for him in Arizona. I get all that. But I'm here to say I don't love the strategy of using others to say what you want to say. If Deshaun has something he really wants to say, then tweet it, lay it on the line, say it with your chest, go point blank. Don't drop hints with rap lyrics. Drop a bomb. If that's how you feel, just say you won out. If that's how you really feel. You know, just make it totally crystal clear, like broken glass clear to all of us. You're done with Bill O'Brien. I'm good with that. Now, again, to your point, Shannon, they're about to make him a very wealthy young man, and maybe that will ease his unhappiness. But I don't know. He's still stuck with Bill O'Brien, and he's still stuck with what Bill gives him. And I don't think he's going to be a real happy camper, even if he gets top of the line money, even if he gets the most money in the NFL. And in the end, he's stuck there because, remember, he's still got 2 years to go because he's a first-round pick, so they can exercise their fifth-year option. Then they could tag him, and then they could tag him. They could go 3 more years with him if he'd make a lot of money, but he'd be stuck in Houston if that's how he really feels. So there's been rampant speculation. How about the Patriots? How about Belichick going to get Deshaun? How about Bill Belichick offering his 2 firsts of the next 2 years and maybe a couple of seconds and a third? Give him a Fort Knox of draft picks for Deshaun, and then Houston can take one of the young quarterbacks and start rebuilding. Well, I can tell you this right now. I don't think Houston would do that deal because Deshaun is really good and they know it. Deshaun's really... He's really all they got. I know they still got J.J. Watt. I know he's been beat up, but it's Deshaun or bust. But I wish if Deshaun were really upset about this, he'd lay it on the line and be a little clearer because I get a little tired of trying to decipher the rap lyrics to see what he's trying to tell me between the lines of Drake. Go ahead.
Well, hell, Skip, I wouldn't drop no lines. Hell, I'd take my tail up to Bill O'Brien's office. And I make it crystal clear. I make it abundantly clear that I'm not happy that you traded DeAndre Hopkins. I forget the lyrics. I'm going to go to you.
I'm totally with you. And again, I think we both pity Deshaun, but I don't think either one of us really love the method with which he's expressing his unhappiness. No mercy. We're about to end with a bang here on Undisputed. Would you believe that Bill Belichick has been nominated for a sports Emmy in the category Outstanding Sports Personality, Studio Analyst? And this, of course, was for his work on the NFL Network's NFL 100 All-Time Team panel last fall. Shannon Sharpe, you surprised by this?
Yeah, there's some bull jive, because I ain't getting nominated. But anyway, no, Skip, I'm not surprised. Because, look, Skip, he knows football. Skip, he's coached some of the greatest. He was the defensive coordinator for Lawrence Taylor. He coached in the same division as Reggie White. He's coached Tom Brady. He's coached against Peyton Manning, Joe Montana. He's coached against some of the all-time great players. So he knows it. You put him in an environment where he can do what he loves to do. And what is that, Skip? Talk, analyze football. It's a no-brainer. He's as good as it gets. He's probably the foremost authority now. When you want to talk to a coach about said player Who do they go to? There's not an accident that he was the coach that was on television talking about these Centennial players. So no, Skip, I'm not surprised in the least.
Okay, but wait a second. This says outstanding sports personality. When have we ever put personality and Belichick in the same sentence? No. Well, I will when I talk to people who know Bill off the field, because they say off the field,
yes,
he can be a barrel of laughs. He can be charismatic. He can be highly personable, I should say.
Yes.
He can be fun to be around. Now, again, Tom Brady never saw a whole lot of that because, again, Belichick just stonewalled him just the way he stonewalls us in the media. And the only reason this is offensive to me, Shannon, is because I've been a member of the media these many years, and I wish that Belichick would give us a little more of himself day to day in his press conferences, because he is in the entertainment business. And we do see him in the documentaries, The Two Bills with Bill Parcells, or the Tuck Rule documentary, both of them great. And he really comes alive. Well, Bruce Arians came alive yesterday when he talked about no AB. And Andy Reid always comes alive in press conferences. And guess what? Andy did it his way and just won the Super Bowl. So I wish Bill could thaw out a little bit and give us a little bit of that personality from day to day and week to week. Your thoughts?
Skip, I haven't spent a whole lot of time around Coach Belichick, but I did happen to go to the Pro Bowl one year, and he was the coach. And to be around him at the bar and listen at him talk football, he knows football in and out. And he is a great personality. He will open up, but he chooses to stay more buttoned up, standoffish, because that helps him do a better job at what he does. That's coaching.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today, and I had so much more to say. Remember, we're back on Monday, 10 to noon Eastern time on Fox Sports 1. Please stay tuned for The Herd, and please stay safe, and above all, please stay home.
No mercy.